But secondly, what we see here is faithfulness regardless of the task. I want to point you to Matthew chapter 20. Jesus tells the story of probably a relative of his. James and John are probably his cousins. So James and John's mother comes up to him and says, Jesus, I want my boys, one on your right, one on your left in the kingdom of God. And Jesus is befuddled by this. He's like, do you even know what you're asking? And then we see in the text, you see it there in Matthew, that the disciples hear this. And they think, well, that's not fair. I want to be at the right hand of the throne of God. What about me? Remember, they're teenagers, all right? Ever been in a youth group? Ever coached middle school boys? You know exactly what I'm describing here. And Jesus is just, what's going on here? And he says that the Gentiles do this sort of stuff. They exercise authority, and often they exercise it so that everyone can know that they're the ones in authority. But that is not the way it ought to be with you. He who is first, be last. He who is strong, be weak. He who has authority, humble yourselves. Because, he says there, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus has to explain to his young disciples that the Lord cares more about faithfulness than influence. James and John wanted prominence, but the Lord had called them to service. Understand that the Lord will call, likely, most if not all of us here today, to lives that will be forgotten. Success to the Christian is not fame or power or influence or legacy. It is ordinary obedience built over a lifetime. In fact, the kingdom of God is built upon that ordinary faithfulness. You and I, here this morning, are the beneficiaries of countless people who have lived ordinary lives and lived with ordinary obedience. I remember countless nights growing up with my mother, staying up all night to wash clothes I needed the next day, maybe for sports or for school or for some opportunities come my way. That is simple, ordinary obedience that I benefited from. I've also benefited from faithful Sunday school teachers, babysitters, nursery workers, gifted cooks, strong men, volunteers, and those who have invested in me without a single thank you thrown their way. The kingdom of God is built upon simple, ordinary faithfulness. The world may not see it, but the Lord does, even if we are washing a man's hands. I'm reminded of a speech that Martin Luther King Jr. gave in 1967. He says, if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures, like Beethoven composed music, like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that all the host of heaven will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well. There is nothing wrong with ambition, but we cannot allow ambition to rob us of simple, ordinary obedience. Our church needs simple people and simple obedience and simple faithfulness. Our spouses need that. Our community needs that. In fact, in this text, it is Elisha's quiet faithfulness that screams the loudest. Remember, the context is everything. Elijah is hiding in a cave for his life, and he is sinking into despair. He has demonstrated that Yahweh is Lord. My God is Yahweh. Our God ought to be Yahweh. Why don't people see this? Why don't they fall on their faces and say, we have wrong, we have been wrong, we have worshipped the wrong idols. Lord, save us. And instead, they got angry, and they came to kill him. And so he's hiding, he's afraid, he's angry, he's melancholy. And in the middle of that, what does God say? There's someone you need to meet. His name's Elisha. And the only thing that we know that Elisha does in this period is he washes Elijah's hands. He stays in the background. He is easily forgotten. Many don't even know his name. And yet, the text implies it is his presence that kept Elijah moving forward. Now, to you and I, it's a menial task, but to Elijah the prophet, it saved his life. I don't think that's menial. That doesn't sound insignificant to me.